And then I hit you with a question about the moment you knew. Is Salesforce, remember that? And I
Yeah.
and I and I was sorry, I didn't write down the exact moment it happened. You can play the tape back and find it. But you
Okay.
made a comment about mathematics and teaching to other people mathematics earlier in your career. And you were saying the students, mathematics is hard for them. Like mathematics is, I'm going to put words in your mouth now. Mathematics is almost foreign to them. And they need me to help them understand mathematics. And I take that role very seriously because, I'm there to teach them. I want to help understand their needs and relate it to them. That's where you moved into words like that. I want to make it relatable or relevant. That was the next part of that answer. But in that moment, I had the moment because I realized here I am listening to somebody who's got a different accent than me, and he's foreign to me, right? And he's talking about his empathy and how mathematics is foreign to his students. And I love the thread, the connection between those images. And so I could picture for a moment there, like that becoming kind of your, what's the word, branding in a way. You know, one of the things I think I'll take out of my years teaching mathematics is, and coming from a background that had limited resources to learn, is I found that it was a great way for me to excel was to learn faster than my peers, learn more than my peers. And that tenacious curiosity has stayed with me to this day. But when I get into a moment of training and teaching another person, I'm reminded of all of that background and how I was once a foreigner. And now these concepts might be foreign to them. And so I leverage that to fully become empathetic or have empathy for the moment they're feeling, the confusion they're feeling. And it allows me to break through that confusion with that level of empathy and communicate to them clearly, possibly what they're missing or possibly what they need a little bit more clarity on, so that we can break through together. And then they're unified, then we're on the same page as we go into tackle the next problem together. Did that make sense at all?
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, the way you even put it is like awesome.
It resonates with you then?
Yeah.
Okay.
You see what I? Yeah.
You like that? Okay, because I'm not.
Yeah, I like
Sometimes I
that.
get it
Yeah.
wrong too. So you have to
No.
decide if it's
Yeah.
good for you. You know.
I
Yeah.
love the way you put it. That's powerful.
Yeah. Um. So on this note, we're almost done. On this note,
Okay.
since we found something there together and kind of worked on it, or you heard it at least,
Yeah.
there was a different moment about 10 minutes earlier than that one where you started to talk about your background and growing up, but you left it for unsaid. You referenced it and then bounced off to the next thing you said. And so I want you to know I don't really know your background. I don't
Mm.
really know how you grew up unless you tell me. So I'm curious
I see.
right now, this is an exercise again. I don't know if this will be added to your job interview or not, but I'm curious. What did you mean when you were starting to talk about how you grew up and your background, even before becoming a teacher and working in management?
So, like in my background, I mean, the very first time I saw a computer, um, I was in something you call the elementary. And there was just a computer in the whole school, and that computer resides in, the principal's office, right? Uh, but they don't turn it on. You don't even see, know how the computer turns on. You don't know what comes up on the monitor, let alone, knowing how to operate a computer. So the very first time I would operate a computer system was after my high school. I mean, my first year in the university, that was the very first time I would, really see a computer and, get to type it. And even with that, I didn't know what was called, computer programming. The first thing I learned was Microsoft Word. And I didn't really even have a training on it, just to figure it out myself and see how I can work with it. So the the very first time I would be introduced, that I was introduced to computer programming was later, I think my fourth year in the university, and it was foreign to me, honestly. And there was limited resources on how to learn programming. There was no internet. There's internet, but there was no means to really get the internet on my own and get to learn. So that's a limited background. But compared to my peers here, I mean, internet is for free. You get it everywhere you go to. So that I was amazed when I got here, the kind of resources available for you to push yourself, to learn, to be aware of what's going on around you, opportunities you can be you can immerse yourself in. So that's what I mean by limited background, and having the appreciation and gratitude for what I have now to learn and be a better version of myself.
So when I send this video to Bradley, I'm going to tell him, make sure to watch to the end. Make sure, in fact, you might want to start from the end and then go back to the beginning. Those last 2 minutes were more powerful than your entire job interview. So start there. At the beginning of tell me about yourself, have a very human moment where you do something drastically different than every job seeker that they're going to talk to next. Every other candidate is going to start the way you did. Well, I worked here. Before that, I did. I have experience with these clouds. I've done these certifications. Everyone's going to say that. So what? But nobody can say what you just said. Not one, well, maybe for Salesforce, but is a top company. But I'm saying the vast majority of job seekers don't have that story you just shared. But the question is, it's kind of a blind spot for you. Like the irony is you take it for granted because that was your life, your upbringing.
Yeah.
Is it okay to hear me say that? How does that make you feel? Do you feel like you don't want to bring that up, or that's not part of who you are?
What I always think about is bringing something professional into any professional setting. And when I was thinking about even the examples I would bring into my answers, I try to filter out anything that is personal, right? And I try to bring more professional things into my answer, so that I won't come out as going off trail or bringing something irrelevant to the table. But you saying it now, it's giving me confidence that why not
It's
use
who
it?
what I believe to be the secret sauce of a job interview is they need to understand who you are. But the average job seeker doesn't know who they are. They know a list of qualifications and their background, and they try to do everything they can to tell stories about those backgrounds. But those are facts. They don't describe you. That 2 minutes that you just shared about your growing up, that's who you are. And that's why I want you to start there. So to your point, your belief about just keeping it professional, I want you to know you succeeded at that. And that should be 95% of your job interview. You're not wrong. But I believe in a job interview, you need a couple moments of personal, just moments. They're so brief.
Okay.
Because those are the real moments you connect to the hiring team and they decide, I want this person to be my coworker. I want to work next to Fesobi, not the other candidates.
Oh my
And that
God.
only happens through a human moment. It doesn't happen because you have a 5th certification. Does that make sense?
That makes more sense to me. That makes more sense. You know,
So
what about if I get the first question, walk me through your resume, or, tell me about yourself. And, I just mentioned that maybe briefly for like 30 seconds and, get into the other facts. What
exactly
about?
right. Exactly right. It's an attention grabbing tool like an entertainer would use, but you want their attention to land the message, right? And so you're exactly right. Fasabi, tell me about yourself. And you're going to start off with, I didn't grow up in America. In fact, I didn't get to type into my first computer until I went to college. But I now have a master's degree and a bachelor's degree and certifications in Salesforce. I'm an avid learner, but only because I don't take it for granted. because I was grew up in a background of limited resources, limited opportunities, and limited, you name it, right? There was limitations on me growing up. And
That's
imagine my excitement as I was exploring some technical things, learning mathematics, learning programming, and starting to see a whole world of opportunities unfold before me. And then I stumble on Salesforce, and it almost seemed easy. That was a moment of limitless possibilities for me. And I would
wow.
be no more than excited to have the opportunity to work for Salesforce, something that I think represents removing the limitations on the users and their clients and their ability to run their business.
Wow. How
Because,
do you go ahead, sir?
no, I was really actually done. You're right. But
How do you
this
do
is what I'm
this?
looking for. This is what I do and what I love.
Oh my God. I mean, the way you put it down without even thinking too much. I mean,
So here's the thing. I
honestly,
want you to have a wonderful
yeah,
night. I want you to listen back to the tape, but I want you to remember you don't have to say it the way I did. It's going to sound different from you. It's your life, but now you know where you're going. And so
yeah,
you can work towards that with every job interview. Okay.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not a script. Don't take and
yeah,
write it down. Just, it's, those were your words. I just put them in a different order and said them back to you.
yeah, yeah. I see what you mean. I mean, that's powerful. I like the way you put it.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful night, man. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much, Justin. I'm so grateful for you giving me the time. Thank you so much once again.